Hello everybody and welcome to the Resident Evil 2 RPD demo. I decided to do something a bit different for this particular upload, coming off the heels of Resident Evil 3's official announcement, and also I just recently platinumed Resident Evil 2 Remake. So I thought I would go ahead and play this demo that they just released. That also, from what I've heard, includes an Easter egg for RE3. So I'm going to be kind of going through the demo and just kind of talking about what I really enjoyed from the game and what I'm hoping to see in Resident Evil 3, and just kind of have a nice little chill session instead of worrying so much about gameplay and this, that, and the third. I've already played, like I said, I've platinumed the game, so I've already played this pretty extensively. I've just gotten off of a long break of not playing it, so. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into this demo and let's get this little discussion going. Obviously, this is the same demo that they've shown since E3 and the one-shot demo that we got earlier this year before Resident Evil 2 was released. I've also done a full playthrough of the game that will be on my YouTube channel as well. Feel free to check it out. It's not too lengthy, but it is quite a few videos, but it is my first reactions to everything in the game. I only did a Claire A, Leon B run through. I, at some point, probably will stream it just so I have a Leon A, Claire B under my belt for my channel as well.
Hello? Is anybody here?
And it goes without saying that Capcom did a absolutely phenomenal job with this game. You know, they went above and beyond what I even thought they would do for this. And when I saw the trailer, I was so blown away that I said, yeah, not only am I going to get this game, but I am definitely going to platinum this game. As RE2 is actually my very first introduction into Resident Evil. I do not recall at the time. I think it was an old classmate of mine, or maybe an old friend of mine that had Resident Evil 2, and I remember the opening. You know, the car crash, the explosion, running from the fire, and you know, just the whole tension and the atmosphere and the music that accompanied the whole thing was phenomenal. And at some point later, I played it and beat it, and then went back and played the original. And I love the original, but RE2 has a very special place for me. So, with that being said, RE3 also has a very special place because I played that extensively as well. Borrowing it from my cousin, I got to play it for quite a long time because he lived out of state, and so it was very rare that we got to see each other. So after a while, he eventually called me and said, look, you can keep the game. I'm not really going to play him anymore. He was kind of falling out with video games at the time, so naturally I thanked him graciously, and I played RE3 quite extensively, and it pretty much has about the same standing what RE2 does. The story is really good. The characters are fantastic. Oh, I see you guys are still waiting on me. Well, you can be waiting a bit then. It's like a scene straight out of The Walking Dead from the prison chapters. Ooh. Oh, I like that. Just that small Easter egg alone, that growl from Nemesis, that is enough to already send a chill down my spine. I'm down. And watching the trailer for Resident Evil 3, I got the same goosebumps that I did for RE2. And it has been a very long time since we've seen Jill in a Resident Evil game. Since 5, when her last actual portrayal of her character was done, to seeing her new redesign, which I absolutely love it. It still pays tribute to her original look, but kind of modernizing it and kind of adapting a little bit of her RE5 look with some of her combat gear that she had from like the Lost in Nightmares DLC, with a more modern, appropriately designed top versus a tube top. I am glad to see that they did include the classic costumes as a pre-order bonus. Obviously, the mini skirt and sweatshirt around her waist and the tube top is iconic for Jill. So, and I was very pleased that they included the classic costumes for RE2 as well. So I'm pretty much expecting... I'm expecting a lot of the same things for RE3 that we got in RE2. Although I'm sure there will be some noticeable tweaks to the RE engine. I have seen what looks to be the dodge mechanic returning from the original Resident Evil 3, so I'm hoping that that is what that is, and it's not just a scripted movement that they put into the trailer. So I'm hoping that that will be a thing. I would like to see, for example, when zombies are on the ground and they grab you, I would like to see the foot stomp come back. It was a bit of an annoying thing when zombies could literally crawl up your body, bite you, and bring you down to the ground in this one. It was a bit of a frustrating thing, but you know, once you get used to playing the game, it does get less repetitive. Still is annoying, but less repetitive. I expect much of the same kind of things with the lighting and the atmosphere. Just things like that, subtle little creaks, the sound of the water as you step.
You got this.
You know, the flickering of lights. Obviously, as you can tell by this point, not Claire, excuse me. Jill is in the RPD and Raccoon City when this all goes to hell. Leon and Claire kind of come in a couple of days after RE3 starts. So, well, by this point, a lot has happened in the city. And I hope to see a lot more going. Obviously, by this point, which was just like in the original one, by the time they rolled into the city, Raccoon City was pretty much abandoned. So I'm hoping that there might be a little more commotion in RE3. Not just zombies, but if you happen to see people running through the street, it'd actually be interesting if Jill would be able to say save some civilians being attacked by zombies, and it may have a possible bearing on events that play out, but I don't see that happening so much. But it would be nice to see, just, you know, if you save somebody on the side of the road, you know, you might see them later on down the way either escaping or possibly even getting bit and turned into a zombie later, or, you know, something to that effect. Just something like that. Also, the
Jesus.
yeah, Leon. Also, I really hope that the RNG of the original Resident Evil 3 plays into the new one. Obviously, you know, depending on the routes and the choices you take, and just the factor of RNG being there, there's different scenarios that could play out. Anywhere from enemy behaviors to what kind of items and equipment that you might be able to get that might change depending on choices and RNG. You know, when it comes to the RPD, I expect it will be much like this, although it probably still will be. It might be a little bit more intact. Like, I don't necessarily expect the water to be here. I imagine that a lot of this probably came about whenever Jill ran through the RPD and Nemesis was in pursuit, and a lot of shit got torn to hell. Obviously, as you can see, as we'll check out later on.
Hurry! Open up! Open this goddamn door! I'll get you out! Please!
Give me your hand.
Help me!
I got you. Hey, give me your other hand. Jesus Christ. Jesus! They're everywhere! Come on. God damn it! Watch out!
You're safe. For now.
Thanks.
Marvin Browner.
Leon Kennedy. There was another off strike. I couldn't...
Here. I'm sure you did what you could, Leon.
Does anyone know what started this?
Not a clue. But honestly, all you need to know is that this place will eat you alive if you aren't careful.
Yeah, well, I was supposed to start last week, and I got a call to stay away. I wish I'd come here sooner.
You're here now, Leon. That's all that matters.
Okay, Lieutenant? I'm ready.
Hopefully you'll be able to find a way out of this station. That officer you met earlier, Elliot. He thought this secret passageway might do the trick.
This is good news. We can get you to a hospital.
No, no, I am not the priority here.
Lieutenant, I'm not just gonna leave you here.
I'm giving you an order, rookie. You save yourself first. I'd come with you, but I'd just slow you down. Now, you'll need this.
I can't take him.
Stop. And don't make my mistake. If you see one of those things, uniform or not, you do not hesitate. You take it out, or you run. Got it?
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I really loved, and I didn't want to interrupt that cutscene because it's one of my favorites. One of the things I really loved is how they actually gave you more dialogue between Leon and Marvin. I think it was, and I love the way that they improved upon his character. They fleshed him out. They gave him, depending on who you play as, and I'm sure most of you already who know this, who have played RE2, depending on who you start with, Marvin has a different approach to both. Very caring and nurturing for Claire, but hard and tough on Leon because he knows that Leon has to go through this place alone and he has to be ready to make difficult decisions and to not just in his own safety, but difficult decisions, and that he knows that quite possibly he may have to put Marvin down whenever he returns, which inevitably he does turn later on. But I really like how they fleshed out his character and they gave him more than just a couple of lines. They gave him much more emotion. You know, you can the whole time you're going through the RPD, you can see him, fighting to stay alive. And he had been holding on for quite a while. I will have to check in. I don't recall on the time length between when Marvin was attacked and when by the time that Leon gets here. I would probably say he's probably been going at least a couple of days, but I'll have to check. My very dear friend, who is the Resident Evil community manager for Capcom UK, Catastrophe. Hi, by the way, Kat. She will probably know almost exactly how long it has been because she has played these games backwards and forwards, almost every which way you can play them. So I will check into that because I'm actually kind of curious about that. And this is actually, well, not actually, I shouldn't say that because I don't honestly know, but I think that this puzzle was designed partly because of Outbreak, because there was an entrance here in the RPD. Obviously, the placement of Remake moved the statue from in the back where it was previously up front. And when you put in all the necessary emblems in that particular scenario, it opens a hatchway where someone can crawl through. And the scenario goes on from there. Marvin gets attacked, and while there are some other survivors that leave, he stays behind to hold the place down. And when Jill comes through in the original RE3, he is unconscious. Still alive, but unconscious. So somewhere between that point, which is September 28th, we are now on October 1st, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. October 1st is when Leon and Claire, I believe, get into the city. They come into the city about the time when Jill is recovering in the church from being infected by Nemesis.
This is not how I imagined my first day.
None of us imagine it like that, Leon. None of us do. Actually, I wonder about something real quick that I... So many times of playing the games now, I'm kind of, Oh, nope, they locked that one. Okay. Okay, I couldn't remember if if it was optional to come in here or not. I was just curious to see if if I could get one of the upgrades. But yeah, I imagine much of the RPD is still going to look the same in Resident Evil 3. I would imagine that pretty much a good chunk of the assets from 2 are going to be, at least for the RPD, reused. Although I probably would imagine that some things will probably be swapped around. And in the original RE3, this door and that door were barricaded when Jill comes through. But when RE2 comes through, obviously because this was RE3 was made later, it was implied that barricades were broken down in between when Jill comes through and when Leon and Claire come to the city. Obviously, for design purposes, they didn't want you to spend a lot of time as Jill in the RPD because already going through and spending most of your time in Resident Evil 2, they didn't want you to linger around too much in 3. They wanted you to actually get out and explore the city. And that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to a lot, is being able to actually explore Raccoon City again. Our closest thing that we got to explore Raccoon City was Operation Raccoon City was the next closest thing we got. And to a slightly lesser extent, Umbrella Chronicles. This is still one of the most gruesome scenes in here, and but it's so freaking good. The amount of detail in here is just insane.
Fuck. Huh? What?
The character redesigns for Leon and Claire were fantastic as well. You know, the decision to use I can't remember the exact word, but basically take photos of the actors to get their likenesses down almost perfectly. It's just amazing. We're gonna pass you up. Goodbye, Karen. Not today. Ah, so that's where the card is. Bye, Karen. See you later. I've killed you more than enough times. So I imagine that probably, much like in the original, there will be probably sections of the RPD that we will not be able to get to, like in RE2. And as unfortunate as it is, much like we already had, we've had a whole experience of being in the RPD, so I imagine that much like the original, RE3 will take us briefly here, but not overstay our welcome. Damn, your buddy's on the inside of the door. Can you at least wait for him to get up? Obviously, as you guys can tell, I'm in my motions right now. I've played this game quite a bit, and yep, they're not gonna let us get that. That's true. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move along. Oh, bugger off. Just because I don't want anything annoying popping through. I hope that the soundtrack as well, speaking of, I hope that the soundtrack for RE3 is as good as it was in the original. It had so many beloved tracks. A few of them that I still listen to this day. Obviously, the save room, the ending music are two of my personal favorites, among others. So, yes, I know. And even though like the soundtrack for this game it had its quiet spots, and I think that's what really helped the atmosphere, is that there wasn't constant music blaring. Obviously, themes like Mr. X were really powerful stuff. Come on, buddy. There you go. It's one of the funniest things I ever saw whenever I first started playing this game, when I learned that he could actually fall. I don't remember,
What in the...
Yep. Like, for example, I don't think we're gonna really be seeing any of this in RE3. For a large part, I think we're gonna be in the main hall, possibly a few of the other rooms. Obviously, the STARS office is gonna be one of the main ones. But I don't foresee that we're gonna be spending a lot of time there as well. Like I said, which is unfortunate, but the main goal of Resident Evil 3 was Jill was trying to escape the city. Obviously, from the tidbits that we learn, as you can tell right here, obviously this is at one of the points where Nemesis, most likely, if I'm going to guess, probably came through this way. In pursuit of Jill. Obviously, from the original, when you go down the stairs after Jill has done everything she needs to do from the STARS office, Nemesis crashes through the window that I just boarded up down here and proceeds to chase her through the RPD with a rocket launcher. Fun times. So... And then obviously, since from the demo, obviously we can't access this area. But obviously, as you can tell, these are clear signs of pursuit by Nemesis, which we all knew was the case. You know, there wasn't anything that was unclear, that this was clearly Nemesis. This was his route through the RPD, chasing Jill. So, like I said, I imagine that it will be a much more intense and much more terrifying experience than what we got with Mr. X. Obviously, Mr. X has, formidable as he is, he just has his fists. Nemesis, being a more advanced, more intelligent bioweapon, was equipped with weapons of varying degrees, which I'm sure that the new remake will add even more devastating things to his arsenal, much like you saw with Ustanak in Resident Evil 6. Had many different ways that he could dispose of you. And so, this one little area right here lets you know that some serious shit went down. So, and just from the growl that we heard at the beginning of the demo, I'm already anticipating a much more terrifying version of Nemesis. You can see off in the distance, can't really tell what that is per se. A boarded up building or something. I never really look out the windows too much to see if there is anything of obviously you can't really see much of anything, but So we're gonna go ahead and make our way towards the last portion of the demo.
Leon, it's Marvin. I need you back here ASAP.
Are you okay, Marvin?
I've got something to show you. It's important.
Copy that. I'll be right there.
This, obviously, from everybody who's played the game knows that this is one of the most annoying areas to be in because of the fact that there are multiple zombies that can ambush you if you're not careful. Not today, Satan. Not today. Hey, don't you growl at me. I'm Leon S. frickin' Kennedy. So, also, I didn't really speak of Carlos's new redesign. Since seeing the stills and the trailer, at first I didn't honestly know what to make of his redesign. It was quite different than what I was expecting of Carlos to be redesigned to look as. Obviously, there's been various interpretations of Carlos in different games, going from just RE3 to Umbrella Chronicles to even the live action with Oded Fair as Carlos. Was different. So there's been various interpretations of him. And so at first I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, but after watching the demo, I like his new look. He looks more grizzled, much more of what you would expect a mercenary to look like. Much more grizzled. The beard definitely helped. I felt the beard really helped kind of flesh out what they're trying to bring to his character, or what I hope will bring to his character, and not just trying to be this suave, smooth-talking dude with a rifle like he was in the original. I'm also really curious at the end of the demo, the end of the trailer, that one of their missions will take them here. Obviously, you didn't get to see any of that in the original. The only time you really get to play as Carlos is in a couple of segments, which take place further down the line in the Resident Evil 3 storyline. You know, the only prior indication of Carlos is when Jill intercepts a radio communication from the STAR's office, where he is radioing for help after all of their units being wiped out by the zombie hordes and all the other BOWs that were in the city. So I don't think we'll get this. I don't know if we're gonna get anything like if Jill meets Carlos in the RPD, or if we're gonna get it like in the city like we did before. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. But only time will tell. We have until, I believe, was it April? I believe they said it was going to be coming out. Which I was a bit surprised to a degree. But I'm also very excited that we don't have to wait nearly as long. And I know a lot of people were recently talking about how can we get this game so soon? I'm worried. Is this going to be a finished game? This is Capcom. Capcom has had blunders in the past. We all know its history. But since Capcom's turnaround, we've gotten Resident Evil 7. We've got Devil May Cry 5, we have RE2 Remake, and we have RE3. And my theory is that Ubisoft basically is that Capcom pulled a Ubisoft on us. Sorry, I got my words mixed up. Meaning, much like what they did with the Assassin's Creed series years before, was they had multiple teams working on separate games at the same time. And I think that that's probably a large part of what happened. Also, they had to begin work on Resistance to add in. Then they had to obviously release the beta, gather all the information and the feedback from that, and then be able to continue on with the development process as well. Further along enough to where they could actually release a trailer for us with a release date, and also throw a couple of goodies, which was one of them, which would be this little Easter egg in this demo, and also a short little note that you can find in the main game of Resident Evil 2 addressed to Kendo from Jill, which also is attached to a trophy. So I am not worried about the game being rushed. I think Capcom has taken a lot more of our feedback into mind when it comes to their games. I know there was some criticisms about the original not having fixed camera angles, like the original did. Remake has the over-the-shoulder perspective of RE4 and RE5 and RE6, but more noticeably RE4, since the camera sticks close behind you. And for that, I say honestly, this fits really, really well. I'm very pleased with how this came out. And when you think about it to an extent, it is a bit fixed, because even though it's not fixed in the traditional sense, it's modernized to the point that, yes, even though it is over the shoulder, you are still not fully, you don't have your environment fully in front of you to where you can take in everything, which is in terms why you might occasionally run into zombies who are on the ground, or might be coming around the corners. Say, for example, on the 3rd floor, there is a zombie that is pretty much right here that you will not see unless you come around the corner to about this point. So, in a sense, it is still restrictive, like a fixed camera angle of the original was, but in a much different sense. Even though you have your front view laid out in front of you, your peripherals and your flank are still hidden, which means, much like, to borrow the line from Batman Begins, you must always mind your surroundings. And so that is what I say to that. So for the people who are worried about the game being released in April, and here we are in December and it's just been announced, don't worry. I have faith in Capcom that they will deliver a very, very thrilling and tense and fantastic experience for us to play. They have taken a lot more feedback into account for us in these last several years, and they've applied a lot of that to what is now the finished game that we have been playing for almost a year now. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here real quick. Let's go talk to Marvin and finish it up. I don't want to ramble too long.
There you are.
Also, that ancient laptop,
Take a
though.
look.
Yes. I knew she'd make it.
You know her?
Yeah. Name's Claire. I came into town with her.
You can get to that courtyard. Through the 2nd floor. East side.
I'm on it. Thanks, Lieutenant.
Obviously, I could have ran through that much faster, but I wasn't worried about that. I just wanted to enjoy a bit of a chill time with it. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed this little small side trip.
I want to find out what's happening here.
She's the one at Umbrella responsible for unleashing the virus.
Seems to be evolving much faster than expected. You gotta be kidding me.
God only knows what's down here.
What the hell?
It'll be all over soon.
I'll get you, you fucker!
Ada!
Sherry, I'm coming!
I'm not handing over anything!
Jesus Christ! That? You don't know what you're up against.
The whole place is coming down.
That's a pretty damn good idea.
She is my creation.
This is Hunk from Alpha Team.
Man, I thought you were all wiped out.
I sing no. No, we don't need to purchase this game because we already have this game. Alright, so this is going to conclude the demo time and the chat part of this video. So, thank you everybody who will be seeing this. Feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I will be at some point doing a stream on Resident Evil 2 for YouTube, just so there's one here, and just to have a nice little casual run of it and just have some fun with it. In the coming months, I will ask everybody to be patient. When Capcom brings out new information, we will find out more details as we go along. Have faith, stay strong, endure and survive, and I'll see you guys back in Raccoon City again sometime. Take it easy. Signing out.